Tech Talk time here at round one of the Bosch Motorsport Australia Rally Championship here in Canberra. A little bit of precipitation. These are the brand new MRF control tyres. But Dean, let's bounce through a couple of things to consider for the competitors here. Firstly, we welcome back MRF, but things are a little bit different to when they were last with us in the championship.
Indeed, developed for the European Championship, etc. And you talked about the rain coming through. Teams have had a little bit of testing with this, mainly in the medium, in the dry conditions. The weather comes in, guess what? MRF are getting lots of phone calls saying, is there a soft available? So we've got two here. The other thing to note, there is actually a dedicated right and a left tyre for the team. So this is on my right, this is the soft tyre. And would you believe hard to see, but if you give that a bit of a twist and then you go to the mediums, that's soft. Medium's almost like a kitchen table in comparison. The reason for soft versus medium and that sort of movement is the fact you want to generate heat in these cool conditions when you don't have bite on the surface. So the idea of that moving around more of the compound is important. And of course then when you're wearing it out, the square edges are important. You've got a braking marker from the inside. This is important for under brakes. And of course, lateral grip's important, why you see that sort of pattern between the left and the right. So now you've got to, as a team, you've got to make a decision on tyre bank versus these control tyres as well.
So you nominate. That's the key thing. There are options here. That's worth noting for viewers and followers of the championship, isn't there? 16
tyres is what you've got, variable conditions. And now if you throw in, even though it's great that they've got a choice and you might want to go into the cool conditions with a soft, does that penalise you later in the rally if the conditions become hot and you wear your tyres out? So now left tyres, right tyres, 16, lots of combinations, the maths being done. And that can be the difference between, from your point of view from driving, quarter of a second, half a second a K if you get it right. So there's a little bit of a difference from what we've seen in previous years where this tyre will make a big difference to choices for the teams.
So for you following the championship, that means there's another layer in the storytelling depending upon what you do. If you are into motorsport, you'll often see people cutting a groove in tyres in certain forms of motorsport. Can't do that here, can you, to try and improve that dispersion of the water?
No, control tyre, so you can't do that. And the thing that you'd be looking at doing here, Rusty, is that across the face there, when it's really wet, you might try and angle that and get a deeper slot in there like your road tyre, so you're dispersing the water. Less aquaplaning, even though we're not on tarmac and you hear aquaplaning a lot in circuit racing. Of course, we've got deep puddles and things. The same thing can happen to these tyres. Only so much water can go through there. So if you had an option, you might sort of choose to really, slice these apart to get through the water. If it really comes down heavy in rain, you sacrifice a little bit of, potentially your grip, later in the rally. But no choice on that, just the compound choice here.
You talk about experience and what it's worth to you, knowing what the tyre can do, how it will behave in certain conditions, and therefore then knowing what choices to make. Who up and down our Peters Service Central here is going to be good at doing that?
This is where experience does come in. The thing is, with this being brand new, I know they've probably tested both compounds, but in the dry. No one's tried it in the wet. What do you gamble on? It is almost a gamble. To me, if you've showed pace and you think you're a form team like Toyota or shakedown like Scott Petter, don't risk too much on a tyre choice. Don't do anything radical. Someone who's sort of mid-pack and you might want that half a second could make a difference. You might just roll the dice. What would that mean? Bring us up to a podium position versus drifting back. So I feel like it's more a gamble for a mid-team pack rather than a lead team to go out on an extreme on what you might do with tyres. But it just shows how complex that is when you then throw in setups of cars and the different style of cars and the pace notes and combinations. It's the bit that we love about the sport.
And finally, what about the way you drive, the way you use the tyre?
Really aggressive person off the tire. We talked about braking grip. You're really efficient on it, and some cars are efficient. You don't wear out the tyre as much. The real flamboyant drivers who are really committed and over the top. And you see those beautiful shots of them out wide and sideways. You can tear up a set of tyres depending how you drive it as well. So there's a lot to play out, and I think it's, myself as a driver, sometimes you can confuse yourself with a choice. Sometimes you can go, just give us with one, we'll run with that. We're going to try and pick the weather, not pick the weather and just run with what it is. But like I said, if you're mid-pack or you're chasing something or you're not quite on the pace, sometimes a choice like this might just be a trump card.
There you go. A little bit of science in relation to the tyres, and naturally the team here at MRF are a little bit busy here in Canberra.